All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for its one main Google search, local and city search combined of Tulia, Texas. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum, high intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So if there's 10 organic slots per Google search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting in the mom groups, saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that. And also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock, way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief, and my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page 1 slots, as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page 1 equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page 1, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page 1. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page 1, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily, we have a solution. Because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows into Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page 1 slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Let's imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page 1 Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go basically any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. We're finally visible on page 1, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus to this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. As a result, we achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology, that's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot one, we got organic slot one, we got organic two, we got organic, so slot three, me, slot four, me, slot five, me, slot six, me, slot seven, me, slot eight, me, and slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get us from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. Now the main event here, we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business and check out, see if they got BSS for their local and their city search. Actually, they're in one. This time, Tulia, Texas. I think it's in between Dallas and Amarillo, Texas, but they call it Amarillo. So let's check here. So here we go. Let's go roll to the organic slot. So here's what we got. We got slot one. We got slot two. Boom. Slot three. Boom. Slot four. Slot five. Slot six. Slot seven. And all right, dude, we got 7 out of 10. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We say page one dominance starts at 8 out of 10, so almost 8 out of 10 slots here. But dude, imagine, dude, they just kicked off 6 or 7 other competing boudoir photographers to be price shopped against for the 80% of searches on Google. Fantastic. This is what we want. This is what we want. Tulia, Texas. And yeah, we don't have this local city search combined. So boom, perfect. This boudoir photography business does not have BSS, boudoir search sameness, for their local/city Google search. And they also have exceeded the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots Google page one organic search. So fantastic, fantastic. This is what we all wanna get to. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you went and you've done your local search, your city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, you noticed you either had BSS, so you have BSS for either one or both of those searches, or you are you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google for, again, either one or two of those slots, and you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you've actually seen Google will actually give us as many page one slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So you're saying, okay, now S-cubed methodology makes sense, and you're seeing that this is the only path forward for yourself, and you've actually been waiting for something like this, and you're liking the initial benefits, more page one links on Google. You're liking the second initial benefit, which is actually like second a little bit more, which is be able to kick your competitors off of Google, make them invisible, page two and deeper. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, more, new gear eventually over time. More people hop on to become boudoir photographers, so it gets harder and harder over time. But you're looking ahead and you're like, man, AI is currently taking people's jobs. And last time people lost jobs, COVID, a new flood of boudoir photographers came in because everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera. So it's easy to start saying shoot boudoir down now, offer cheaply, kill margins for everyone. While later competing boudoir photographers kind of just annoy, basically like take up slots page one on Google. And so you're seeing, okay, you're seeing more and more people are going to be entering the marketplace above and beyond the people getting new gear, forced to because of losing their job due to AI. So you're like, okay, we need to actually fortify our slots on page one and actually have so many backup links that Google wants to rank us on page one. But since there's only 10 slots, literally it cannot rank us anymore. But those backup slots will literally be like preventing current competitors from ever ranking on page one, or any future competitors from ranking on page one. Kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city is below sea level, fortifying into the ocean. So you're seeing, okay, you got to fortify, and you're like, oh, S-cubed methodology will give me that future benefit as well. That's the exact perfect tool to use to achieve that goal. And you want, you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need these things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also looking ahead to the future and the future benefits that we haven't talked about yet of utilizing SQ methodology, which is, we're kind of building these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, our website name, our business name, our name, kind of out there on the internet. And it's kind of like, columns to the, Parthenon, Athens, Greece, or, the spokes into our hub, like them in, the center of a bike tire. Our business name's the hub. So we've got all of these columns plugged into us. And what this is like building AI mindshare for those keywords: age, relevance, frequency, authority, repetition. So we're building AI mindshare for these keywords. And every day we successfully do this, which is exactly what SQ methodology does, we are increasing the probability we'll be recommended here in the most premium placement AI overview of the top of Google search, which we cannot pay for with ads to get. And so you're seeing that benefit, you're liking that feature benefit. You're also understanding that, well, if it's helping with that, it will also increase probability of every single day of being recommended on AI search, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. You're recognizing the more kind of this invisible thematic keyword columns you plug into your brand, the higher and higher probability every single day recommended to searchers on those platforms. And yeah, Google still owns practically 90% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day, and Google's kind of slowly decaying every single day. Standard Google search. So you're recognizing that you want these benefits, and you're also recognizing, since my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you can actually box out your competitors from ever using this strategy, get all the benefits against them, the two immediate benefits, the 3 future benefits, and the 4th one would be, grown actually a known brand, approximately 8x faster than conventional methods. And you would, you're recognizing you could actually put massive distance between yourself and any of your current competitors or any future competitors, where basically you get so far ahead, there's like literally basically no chance for them to catch up. And as a result, when you actually want to, since you decided to be first mover on this, because you understand if a competing boudoir photographer hops on this first, then you'd be locked out. You'd be getting kicked off page 1 of all the highest intent Google searches. Get to page 2 and deeper, where approximately 80% of the market will never ever see you because they're page 1 and done searches. And we would actually be making up massive progress against you, boxing you out from ever getting on page 1. And me and your competitor would be building up massive momentum and invisible thematic keyword column back-end AI mindshare, kind of invisibly with the AI search recommenders. And I remember last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, with ChatGPT, and recommended me 3. And I actually went and did manual search Google and Facebook, simply to see how many are actually out there. Dude, there's like 60. So you're seeing, yeah, we definitely gotta find some way to get on these AI searches. And you actually want, you're saying that if a competitor is making all this momentum, then making all this progress, and you're frozen out, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology yourself, or drive it for the first time. You would never actually trust that you derived it 100% correctly, but then you'd have to execute same amount as us every single day. And if you did all that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap between your competitor and me and you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our effort, our output every single day. And then if you were to do that, then you could steal back some of that AI mindshare momentum from us, get some links. But you would never feel 100% confident you've even derived the strategy correct in the first place. So you'd probably not even feel confident putting in the time to do all that. Out execute us 2 to 3x every single day. And plus, who's got 80 hours a day to do that? So you decide to screw that. You decide to be the first mover in your city, block out all your competitors from using this strategy. And if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when I do open the hospital up for new patients, shoot us a DM, and we'll see if you qualify to use our S cubed methodology.